Hey, everybody, it's your girl, author Doc B. She's in the building. And guess what? We have a special treat for you tonight. Bring It to the Table is a safe space where some destination errors. Okay, hold on. Bring It to the Table is a safe space where anyone can come to who has overcome, conquered, and survived things and is living beyond their dreams. And tonight we have a special person by the name of Stacy on. She is a really good friend of mine. And she is coming on. And I don't know what's going on. It's always something. I'm telling you, Facebook don't want you to go on, and this one don't want you to do that. So I just got to go in here and fix everything. So give me 1 second. Hold on. Of course, I got to do my little thing here. I make it. Okay, there it is. Let me know what's going on out there, you guys, because I'm going to bring Stacy in right now while I'm fixing everything. Hi, Stacy. Where are you? Add to the stream.
Hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Stacy.
Felicia. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm resetting everything, of course. I'm going to switch gears in 1 minute, but I'm still a little excited for today and the way everything
Okay.
went. And I'm just kind of like trying to come down a little bit,
Oh,
but
I
I did
bet.
not want to miss the opportunity to introduce you to the world.
Thank you.
You are amazing. How you feel?
I feel okay. I feel
Oh,
okay. We're getting better. Yes.
good. That's good. So I am on tour, everyone, and we'll talk about Stacy in 1 second. But I want to tell you more about Bring It to the Table. It's a safe space where you can come. Anyone can come who's overcome, conquered, and survived anything and is living beyond your dreams. This podcast stemmed from my book, of course, The Three C's, which tonight we had a wonderful kickoff in Atlanta, Georgia area. It was amazing. Tickets went well. People showed up. It was fun and laughter and joy in the room. We had a saxophonist. Boy, he is bad to the bone.
Wow.
It was an amazing. We had a couple of poets come up. We had a DJ there. It was just a powerful event at the Atlanta Metropolitan College. So you all can just go to my Facebook page. Of course, I'll put footage up once I get it back from the producer on my YouTube page so that you all can see as well. Next, you can catch me on Sunday. I will be in the Savannah, Georgia area this Sunday coming up. There's a Women's Day going on at the St. Paul's Church on Martin Luther King Avenue. And then I will be going to, of course, Baltimore, Maryland at some point, and Oxford Valley at Sugar and Spice on October 15th. So now, Stacy, I got all my stuff out the way, but I wanted to bring you on because my computer's acting up and I didn't want to lose you.
Okay. All right. That's fine.
We had a couple of destination errors, but I'll fix them as we go along, okay? I
Okay.
cannot see the
Okay.
audience right now. I don't know who's looking or anything because I'm on a different device. But there's a couple of people
Okay.
on I can see right now, but I don't know where they are on. And once my computer reboots and reloads and everything, then I will put that I will switch. I'm gonna switch.
Okay. Okay.
Now, got all that stuff out.
Yes. Fun
Cool.
stuff.
I know. I have some questions.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about our experience.
Okay.
But for the most part, I'd like for you to tell the audience who is Stacy. And and it says connecting to the spirit with Stacy. So who's
Connecting the spirit
Stacy?
with Stacy.
Yeah, who is
So,
Stacy?
so I'm an evidential medium and a spiritual healer. I'm a child of God. And I connect people to their loved ones who have crossed over. That's kind of the shortened version of who I am. Oh,
Mm-hmm,
you went away.
mm-hmm. And I'm gonna come back. Don't worry.
There you are.
They just allowed us in. Facebook just let us in right now. I don't know what's wrong with their
Okay. See
thing.
if I
So
can
if
share it.
yeah, if I go away, then and I come back, that's because they're giving me permission to go in these places.
Oh,
So
okay. All right.
let me just see if it's on yet. Let's see. Yep. Okay, so we're good to go on Facebook now. Let me see if it's on
Are
my
you in there? Hmm.
page.
Yeah. I'm not seeing it, but
Yeah,
that's
we're
okay. I
here.
can share it.
We're well. Don't worry, I'll get it up on your page because I need to go on your page too, right?
Yes, yes. I was just going to share it on my page as well, but I'm not seeing us yet on yours, but we're good.
You're not seeing it yet?
Mm-mm. Under
Yeah.
just the Felicia Burton?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah, I'm
that's
not
not me.
seeing.
Let me see. Let me see.
Oops.
We got white on. It's not on
Oh,
my
wait a minute.
page. Yeah, that's my page.
Not seeing us yet, but it might just take a second to
Facebook
load.
season.
Yeah, Facebook is a little funny sometimes.
Mm-hmm. So tell the audience who is Stacy.
Well, like I said, I'm an evidential medium and a spiritual healer, a child of God. I help connect people who have lost their loved ones to those on the other side. I'm called an evidential medium basically because I give you evidence that your loved one is speaking to me. I'm not just saying, oh, your loved one is okay and they love you and they send you butterflies. I like to give you actual evidence of their personality or something that they did or how they passed. I mean, you had a reading with me, so you were able to see how I work, where I didn't want to just be very vague. I want you to know for sure that I have who you think I have by giving you different things about them.
I did, and I'm going to talk about our experience. Well,
Okay.
my reading. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, but I think it's important that the audience knows how we met. Can you tell them how we met?
Well, we were both working on a joint venture, shall we say, with a business. The business didn't quite do what we thought it would do, but we
Mhm.
figured out that because of this business, it brought us together for a reason. That's
Yes.
I think that's probably the easiest way to say it. Not
Yeah.
all businesses out there do what they say that they're going to do, and we just,
Mhm.
with several others who were also in that, we overcame that. So that's part
Yeah.
of "You're Soar Like an Eagle." We
And we
overcame it.
and we are on the other side. And
Yes, we
you
are.
and we both live by, we know that God doesn't make any mistakes and that the universe is the universe and when it speaks to us. And so we do agree that we were brought together for a purpose.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. We're not going to let
Stacy,
anybody get us down when we can rise above that.
and we did it though. Oh my God. I mean,
Yes.
the force that
Mhm.
it was like a force to be reckoned with. Don't mess with us together. That's how I felt. I did. I felt safe. I felt supported. It was just an
Oh, good.
amazing experience. It really was. And
Mhm.
so, how long have you been a medium?
About a little bit over 8 years that I've been a practicing medium where I see clients or I do gallery readings or, privates or intimate group readings. It's been about 8 years. And I'm here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, but I go to Bel Air, Maryland once a month and, in other areas if clients want to host an intimate reading at their home, I will come to them depending on where they're at, of course.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Wow. So you go into people's homes, you go into the business, you go wherever. It's
Yes.
like you're a travel medium.
Exactly,
I like
exactly.
that.
I am that.
I like that. And
Mhm.
so, how do people behave? during and after. And I'll share my experience at some point. I will get to it. But
Well,
how people, uh, behave? Like, what is some of the feedback you've gotten from these?
oh,
I can tell what I
goodness.
did. I already know what I did. I just broke down.
Yeah, that happens a good bit. I'll have people that'll come into the office to have a reading, and sometimes they're afraid because they don't know what to expect. But I only deal in love and light. So when I set my intention with you, Felicia, I always tell people I am not the medium that says I see death all around you and you're going to be dead in 10 days.
Hmm.
My gift, my prayer is that God and spirit and angels bring in the most loving message to help your spirit heal. So my main course or my main goal is to talk to your loved ones, to talk to angels that are on the other side to help you heal through the grief that you're going through, the loss that you're going through. Grief is, gosh, I mean, it comes in waves. And, someone could have passed 20 years ago, but something happens and all of a sudden that grief wave hits you again.
Yeah.
So, and I've had my clients say that after they've had a reading with me, they feel so much lighter and more at peace. The grief is still there. It doesn't wham bam and then the grief is gone. But it
Hmm.
helps you to know that, you know what, my loved one passed, but that wasn't the end. Their
Right.
spirit, their energy is very much around me. Yes.
Exactly. And
Hmm.
I know for me, well, first thing I did was I shared the information with my siblings and
Hmm.
friends, close friends,
Hmm.
and and
You were able to feel like your loved one there, correct?
I did, and the one part that I knew that you were gifted uh, for this occupation,
Hmm.
with this talent that you have. I knew that you were gifted when you invited, when you told me somebody else wanted to come in
Okay.
and who that person was. And I was like, oh my goodness, somebody else besides who we were talking about. So we talked about my mom because my mom
Hmm.
recently passed away.
Hmm.
And but when you said, gave me evidence, like you
Hmm.
said, that's what you do, you give evidence. When you told me that the person wanted to come in was sorry for the way he had left me.
Okay.
And I knew right then and there who you were talking. I'm like, that did it for me. I'm like, oh no.
Mm.
I was so overwhelmed.
Mm.
I knew
Yeah, it
it.
can be, yeah, it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming, when you sit down in a reading, especially if more than one person comes through. If someone comes through with an apology, it's like, oh my gosh, how did she know that I was waiting on an apology? Or if someone had passed of suicide, and I explain what happened, and it's just one of those things where I always stand firm in knowing that God and angels and spirit are going to give me exactly what my sitter needs to hear to help them heal. You know, I'm given that for a reason.
Yeah, you did that. Um, I can't even get myself together
Yeah.
thinking about
Well,
that moment, that day.
mhm,
I told first my husband, and then I called my sister.
mhm,
Then I went to work and told everybody at work, and I could not stop talking about it.
mm,
There was another uh, profound, life changing moment during our reading.
mhm,
And it was when you told me that my mom felt like a star, that I treated her like a star, and you figured out some way that She was the matriarch.
Absolutely.
You figured it, you just came right there and say, hey, your mom, the way you treated her was like she was a star. Like you really loved your
Mhm.
mom. You admired her so much. And I'm like, oh my God. And I did.
Mhm.
Because my mom did not feel as if she was the matriarch by others.
Right. That happens sometimes.
So I knew that everyone had preceded her,
Mhm.
her mother, her older sisters. I knew that she was next in line on her mother's side,
Right.
and she was 75 years old.
Mm.
So those were some, and I made highlights. You killed the game with me. You sold. I'm like, you know what? That's it for me. I was ready to go, and you kept going. He was like, but
Hold
wait,
on, somebody else is coming in, right?
hold
Yeah.
on. And I'm like, ma'am, that's enough.
Um,
And when you told me about my numbers and my animals and stuff, I'm like, oh
Oh, that
my
yeah,
God.
for your horoscope. Yeah.
Can you
Yeah.
tell the audience about that part?
So what I do, there's a book that I look at that talks about horoscopes. And I I like to indulge or I like to read horoscopes and just kind of see what that's like. And we all have a zodiac sign depending on when we're born. But there are signs and symbols that coincide with the specific day that you were born. So
Mhm.
it tells you things like what your symbol is, who your archangel is, and then there's this thing that's called Judas highlights, and it just talks about what your personality is. And it was funny when I was reading that, I mean, author being on stage, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, this is you, Doc B. This is
Mhm.
you."
Mhm.
So, I'm always curious about it. I don't know the horoscopes and astrology as well as I'd like to, but it's something that I have a lot of respect for. So I like to read and just before my sitter comes in, I'll take just their name and the month and the day of their birth. I don't need to know their
Mhm.
year. And if they don't want to give it to me, I'm cool with it as well. But I just like to see what their earth sign is and what their archangel is and what their symbol is. I think your symbol was the triangle, if I remember it
It
correctly, and that
was.
had a different meaning with that as well. And the triangle just says that you have the right amount of talents. You've got this equal amount
Mhm.
of talents, all these
Mhm.
gifts. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting what God can do and what spirit does and what our angels and archangels do around us. And, some people aren't open to believing that until they actually sit in a reading and then they're like, oh
Uh-huh.
my God, how did you know that? You
Yeah,
know?
because we were taught in our religions practices not to do that.
Absolutely.
We were taught,
Yes.
oh, it's just a host. It's just they just want your money. Like they don't really
Hmm.
know. But when you become educated, you begin to
Hmm.
see the world's view differently. Your view change,
Yes.
and that's what happened to me. It took 14 years of education to
Hmm.
become open minded enough to understand the power of God, that He puts everything in the world, the earth. People have talent. Everybody's talented. Everybody.
Absolutely.
And I spoke
You just have
about
to
that
find
tonight.
it.
Your talent is is a benefit. It's no different than when I go in the therapy room for my session with my
Hmm.
talent,
Right. Right.
or the surgeon when he goes in the operating room with his talent.
Hmm.
And if you keep it simple, then
Yes.
you will understand the purpose of a medium
Right.
and
Right.
anybody else, even if they were not the type to do love and light. That's your
Right.
gift. You're the love and light. You're the love and light. And that's that. You're not the dark places, like you said.
No.
And I've seen those too.
Yes.
I went to find out one time, is cancer going to come back and kill me? When the
Oh,
doctor said it was gone, you only need to come once a year now.
right.
Any little pain, I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
You have that fear. There's fear and there's faith, you know, and Satan pries in on that fear, and what you believe, you become. What you say, you become. So you just
Absolutely.
have to stand firm in saying, by his stripes, I am healed, and
Hmm.
that cancer is not allowed to enter into my energy
Yeah,
zone anymore.
it is gone with the wind. Okay.
There you go.
6 years now, gone.
Mm, yes.
Gone,
Amen.
and I thank God for that. Um, and so, what is one of the worst readings that you've ever done? If you want to share a little bit about that.
Well, okay. So I'll just say, I don't know if it was the worst reading, but it was one that hit me the hardest. I'll say it that
Okay,
way.
I like
So
that.
I was doing a group reading, and there was two people sitting there, and I had a father figure that was in between them. And so I said, "Would you understand a father who has passed?" And normally I don't remember reading, so it has to be something special for me to remember it.
Yeah.
And the gentleman said, "Maybe." I said, "All right, well, I have a father figure in between you and this." So I said to the woman beside, "Would you understand a father figure that had passed?" And she was like, "Maybe." And I said, "Okay, I'm just going to go with it. I have a father figure who is standing in between you, and he's telling me something was special about the number 7, and that an Uncle Butch knew more information." And the man went, "Oh my God." And he said, "My father disappeared when I was 7 years old, and I have an Uncle Butch." So I explained, what
Wow.
I was getting, and he was like, "Well, I don't know." And I said, I'm hearing cold case." And he said, "Yes." So, and it had been quite a while. So I was able to give some details about what had actually happened, because he didn't
Oh my
realize
God.
that his father had actually passed in order to save his life.
Oh my God.
Yes, because the people that his father was wrapped up with were not great people, and they basically threatened his son, who was a little boy, and they ended up killing the father instead. So
Wow.
that was pretty intense. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't I don't look at readings as bad readings, but some of them just really hit me. I've done thousands of readings. I usually don't get emotional. Occasionally I do. Um, and that was one that I got kind of emotional about because I'm like, "Oh shoot, this is a cold case." Um, and I
Wow.
could see where the father was. I could see how they had ended his life,
Hmm.
and where he was, in New York and things like that. So I gave him that information, and I said, "Your uncle has more information about what happened, so you might want to speak with him."
Oh my God.
So that was kind of freaky, but I think the gentleman got the closure he was looking for.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Wow. That just gave me chills too.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, it's funny how to say, even after all these years and all the readings I've done, sometimes I get so amazed at some of the things that they give to me. And
Mhm.
then I just spit it out and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like,
Mhm.
I did a reading a couple weeks ago and I'm like, "I don't know why they keep telling me Ashley Judd, Ashley Judd." And the one woman was like, "Oh my God, I know exactly what that means." So, you know, I don't need
Yeah,
to know what it is,
as
as
long as
long
the
as
person does.
yes, yes. And
I got it.
when I do my intention with you, remember me saying that I don't argue with spirit. They give me a message for you, for me, for today, or for tomorrow. So if I
Mhm.
say something that you don't understand, keep it in the back of your head. And
Mhm.
I'm saying that for myself as well, because if something doesn't make sense to me, I don't want to like not say it because it's going to make sense to the person in front of me.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Have you ever heard anything funny?
Um, yes, things have come up that have been funny. So I've had a few departed um men who are very, oh gosh, what is the word? They're ladies men. So they're kind of flirty, with me. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh my gosh, your dad is telling me, hop on the back of my Harley, chickie, um, or they'll say something, kind of off the wall and it's funny. This is an interesting thing. So I did this reading. It was a small group and I was here at my shop at Hip Gypsy, and we were back in the one area. And I was talking to this woman, and her mom was saying, "You have a problem with your knee." Now, I don't do health and relationships unless they bring it up. And I said, "Your mom is telling you that you need to get your knee looked at." And the woman was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And I went over to do someone else, and like literally my chair came back around. I said, "Your mom is telling me you're not listening. So you need to go to the doctor and have this knee taken care of." And the woman's like, "Okay, okay." And I went over here and I felt my chair like move.
Oh
And I'm
my
like, "Oh my God."
God.
And I'm like, and I'm thinking to myself, do I need to stop this reading and take this woman to the doctor right now? So, again, I said to this woman, you need to, and she said, "Oh my God, mom, I will take care of it." So I'm over here to do a reading for someone else, and there was something sitting like behind her. It wasn't a pot and a pan, but it was like a little grill with a lid that
Hmm.
fell on the ground, and I heard her mother laughing, and everybody just kind of jumped, and I said, "Okay, your mom is like putting her foot down. She just moved that lid to say, "You better pay attention." And she goes, "I swear to God, I will go." So the woman goes to the doctor and she had this small, um, it was like a small tumor under her kneecap that was not life threatening, but would have caused a lot of discomfort for her
Hmm.
later in life, basically. So they were able to go in and like extract this whatever the tumor was with this fluid,
Hmm.
that's what it was,
Hmm.
off of her knee, so that she was okay. But I mean, I've had weird things like that happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. I mean, funny and weird at the same time.
Yeah, there's times where I'm just like, oh my gosh, when my chair
Anytime you,
moved and I had a friend of mine with me who was writing for me. I either have a writer to write notes or I record the session so that you have it. And I
uh-huh.
remember looking at her and saying, "Did you feel my chair move?" And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I felt your chair move."
Oh
Yep,
my goodness.
yep, yep. Spirit's
Wow.
amazing.
Well, let me see this. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna try to enter a studio another way. Let me see something and see so that I could see how this goes. Mm, I don't know what's wrong with my thing today. It's acting up. What else that while I'm still doing this, I have more questions. So what else does Stacy do?
Well, I am an author. I have
Yeah.
2 books that I have written. Yes, that's how we met.
Hmm.
So I have a 30-day grief recovery journal. My head knows, but my heart still hurts. It's
Hmm.
available on my website. It's available through Amazon or here at my shop at Hip Gypsy Emporium. And
Hmm.
then I have the Crystal Addiction Diary, which is basically a way for you to categorize and keep track of your crystals and your stones and the energies and your oils and things like that. So, yeah, so I'm an author, got those 2 books out. And then I'm co-owner of